everybody, welcome back to British Stand. A really interesting live stream that'll bring a smile to a lot of your guys' faces as we're going to be discussing what's going on in Poland. Not so much what's going on in Poland, but the response from the Polish people. It's giving me goosebumps and actually making me feel really motivated to do something within our country as well. Now, again, there's been a lot going on X specifically with regard to Poland. The things that we hear from the UK side of things, that is that they have very strong borders. And I had the pleasure of going to Poland last summer, and it was impeccable. It was amazing. It was a really great country, and if you're ever fortunate enough to go, you would really enjoy it. And the sights that you'll see there, well, let's just say, will probably take you back maybe 50-60 years of what the United Kingdom was like. Now, I got onto this by Tommy Robinson, actually. Tommy Robinson gave a shout out to a Polish Patriot that goes by the name of Hectic Hector, and essentially what Hectic Hector has been reporting on is essentially about the Polish border, and apparently Germany have been dumping illegal immigrants in their country, essentially, and of course, in true Polish Patriot style, they have rushed to the border in their numbers and defended their country, which is really beautiful to see. We've got quite a lot of footage to get through in terms of the Polish Patriots all gathering together, but also I want to share Hectic Hector's video, and he can explain this essentially before we get into a little bit more of the footage. But guys, as always, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and all that jazz, and yeah, let's get into today's live stream on Poland.
Greetings, my friends. As we speak, Poland's border is currently under attack from Germany. They are unloading vanfuls of illegal immigrants. Now, Poland, a nation who has persevered so much, we are not about to stand back and watch what's happened to England, to France, to Germany. We are taking to the borders. Citizens are taking to the borders to protect Poland. Now, I'm about to take my cameras and give you an on-the-ground perspective, show you what's happening there, show you what it looks like, show you the reality of what is happening here. My personal perspective comes from a person who has traveled the last 9 years non-stop all over Europe with a backpack. I have seen the destruction slowly of massive European city after city after city, and the cause of that being illegal, mass and irresponsible immigration. So we don't want that in Poland. I'm about to take my cameras, like I said, go there. I am an independent journalist. Nobody pays me. I cannot be bought. Truth motivates me. Now, if you want to help support my journey and support these type of trips and other trips where I try to show you the truth, then I've got a Patreon, and I've also got to buy me a coffee. You can do that, and that will be greatly appreciated. The trip goes tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned, and together we must save Poland and save Europe. Love life.
So here is some of the footage, of course, of the border, where essentially they are all gathering together. Have a watch of this. So on following what Hector was saying, I found a little video explaining a little bit more on the essential everything that's kind of happening in Poland. So I put it here for you guys to have a little watch of, and this will probably explain things a little bit better than what I can do. But have a watch of this.
Sobie. Dużo nie mogę, bo tutaj też groźby. Jestem na Lubieszynie. Lubieszyn, przejście graniczne. Tutaj gestapo z SS podrzucają inżynierów.
More videos are coming out documenting the transfer of illegal immigrants from Germany to Poland. Polish authorities are not responding, but the Polish people are. They have had enough and are protesting more and more strongly against illegal immigration.
Bezpieczeństwo, tak? W szczególności obserwujemy kraje zachodnie, no i jest to niepokojące, co tam się dzieje.
Czy w krajach skandynawskich, czy we Francji, wszyscy mówią, jest dramat. Jest dramat, te kraje już nie przypominają tych krajów, którymi były przed zalewem imigrantów.
That is why the residents of Skierniewice do not want a foreigner integration center built in their city.
Nie robimy polityki.
We are not politicians, we don't do politics. We are simply doing this as residents, because we live here. If we don't take care of this, no one else will take care of it for us. The mayor assures that no such center will be built in Skierniewice, but not everyone believes him, especially after it turned out that 2 illegal immigrants, claiming to be minors, were sheltered in a local orphanage.
Chciałbym też, proszę Państwa, żebyście...
I would not like you to make us, the local government, a scapegoat, because in reality, we are not the ones inviting illegal foreigners to Skierniewice. We are only enforcing the law, because no one, including the director, wants to face criminal charges or disciplinary proceedings for not accepting such a person. The problem is that the victims in this case are not officials, but children in orphanages.
To już widać właśnie u nas.
Recently, 2 migrants were placed in an orphanage. Why in an orphanage and not in another facility? Because it was determined, perhaps based on interviews with them, that they were under 18 years of age. How old are they really? No one really knows, because it seems that they have already managed to escape from this center. That is why opposition councillors oppose the construction of foreigner integration centers.
Nie ma się co dziwić mieszkańcom.
It is no surprise that residents are simply afraid, because it has been proven, both statistically and scientifically, that mass immigration is associated with an increase in crime, theft, rape, and robbery, which is why we, as law and justice counselors, must firmly say no. Examples of violence by migrants are abound. Take Kościerzyn, where a 27-year-old Colombian man was detained by citizens after he allegedly rode up to a local resident on his bike and snatched her wallet. In Toruń, public outrage boiled over after a brutal attack by an illegal immigrant, which left a young Polish woman in critical condition. And here, a similar protest in Radom.
Ja pamiętam, jak tutaj w Gubinie.
I remember how a few months ago, here in Gubin, we organized one of the first protests, and some people were shaking their heads. Today, it turns out, all of Poland is talking about this. The presidential campaign also largely revolved around this issue, and I think this shows that a well-organized nation is able to defend itself. Problems with the integrity of Poland's borders have been festering ever since the Civic Coalition, led by Donald Tusk, took power in late 2023. It intensified rapidly after the presidential election, which saw Tusk's candidate for president defeated. Since June 1st, since the end of the elections, we have had a mass invasion. This applies to both the border with Belarus and the border with Germany. German authorities are bringing unwanted migrants from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, and other countries to Poland in large numbers.
Excuse me, do you speak English? Do you speak English? What are you doing here? We are from Somalia.
Our government is unwilling to stand up to Germany, and these people are being sent back to Poland. Regretfully, they are often in poor health. An example from a few days ago, Germany sent a man who had a broken leg. They sent us a man with a broken leg and no medical supplies. However, protests by Poles and warnings about the consequences of mass immigration failed to make an impression on the government, which often forces local governments to accept immigrants through financial blackmail. As an example, after councillors in Kożuchów passed a resolution against the forced relocation of illegal immigrants, they were denied money to subsidize the education of children. According to the evaluator, the submitted application cannot be accepted for implementation due to the fact that discriminatory measures have been taken in the municipality of Kożuchów. Resolution number 19/99/25 of the Kożuchów City Council on preventing the creation of centers for illegal immigrants in the municipality of Kożuchów, in the opinion of the evaluator, violates Article 9, Section 3 of the regulation of the European Parliament and of the Council. Therefore, the opposition is demanding the resignation of Minister of Internal Affairs and Administration Tomasz Siemoniak.
Zdecydowanie miarka już się przebrała.
Things have gone too far. This is not a situation that we have been observing since yesterday, last week, or last month. This situation has been going on for about a year. The EU Migration Pact will come into force in the middle of next year. Tens and perhaps even hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants from Africa and the Middle East will then begin to arrive in Poland as part of forced relocation every year, if not stopped.
So yeah, credit to Poland in general, actually. And as I stated, again, I didn't know this sorts of stuff was happening. Again, we don't know. Thank God for X, by the way. And for those of you wondering what the credibility of this footage, Tommy Robinson has been sharing a lot of this footage and vouches for this guy, as I can prove you here in this image. So what this guy is saying from Poland, that he was speaking at the start of the stream, essentially has been vouched by Tommy Robinson. So everything does marry up, if you like. But he said, keep an eye on Hector's X account for updates from the Polish border, with Germany as Patriots gather to stop third world invaders pouring in. Take note, Western Europe. So again, what I would say about the Polish Patriots is they don't mess around. The Polish do not mess around with regard to their borders whatsoever. They've been loud and clear, and funnily enough, it almost probably feels at this point, because I always say, I'm speaking to someone. I actually was speaking to someone that was Polish the other night there, maybe 2 weeks ago, in fact, a girl actually. And yes, they were very much unanimous across the board that most people, they all agree they don't want their culture and civilization to change, and that's why they're deemed as in our world right wing. But certainly most people want to protect their culture, the traditions and values as of what Poland was built upon, and that's pretty much unanimous across the board. Of course, you'll get a few, but Poland are very, very strong on this, and they do not want immigrants or illegal immigrants or coming from foreign cultures. Again, they took in a lot of Ukrainians, but those sort of values align with Poland. That was coming from this girl, that she said they don't really mind them too much because similar values, feminist traditions, they're not coming into the country trying to change things as such, but they don't want the sort of Islamification of their nation, and that's something that most people are unanimous on across the board. So you can see the response there from those Polish patriots, where they're hearing about this dumping, or almost a Trojan horse, if you like, that's being described by guys on the ground, stating that essentially Germany is dumping illegal immigrants into their country, and Poland and the Polish patriots aren't taking it at all. They do not want that. And again, using their bodies and putting their bodies on the line to go onto that border to stop anyone from going across at that point. They're very, very, very passionate about this subject, and it's absolutely glorious to see. So fair play to those Polish patriots, and some glorious footage there of them all coming together and protecting their homeland. It's really, really beautiful to see. And Poland really is the model. Whilst this is happening, they're still in the EU and all of these kind of things. Whilst this is happening, it's hopefully maybe a blueprint for what could come within the United Kingdom, but I won't hold my breath as of yet. But yeah, credit to the Polish, and a great job that they're doing there currently in Europe. So shout out to you guys. But let's get a little bit of reaction, guys, in the live chat, and see what people are thinking with regard to Poland. And as stated, is this something that you could see happening in the United Kingdom? Unfortunately, I don't think that would be the case. Whilst we do see a lot of patriots, of course, go to protests like today, and all of these kind of things. Again, would that be something that we could do? Protect the borders, protect the island, as say. Vida says, I'm late here, but Poland can defend a land border, but we have a mass of water and still get screwed. Absolutely. On paper, R1 should be so easy. Really, really easy. We've got literally a channel there, but for some reason, 400 or whatever the number is, that sort of goes up and down, a day are coming into the country. So that is a huge, huge problem. But good point. We can't, but fair play to Poland, because they're in mainland Europe and they can just cross over on a road, but they ain't letting them in. Han says Polish people are the kind of people who can learn from others' mistakes. That's the sign of maturity. Yes, they don't necessarily have to touch the fire. They can hear stories of someone touching the fire and say, yo, that hurts. Don't do it. John says, won't say anything. Poland speaks for us all. It's great to see. It really is beautiful to see. And again, for those of you that haven't yet been there and maybe fancy a city break, if you're in a fortunate enough position maybe to get out to sort of Krakow, to Warsaw, unbelievable cities, by the way. Really, really beautiful. And you will see what the hype is all about. If you're a female here in the live chat, you'll be incredibly safe. There's none of this, walking around at night. Walking around at night, you'll feel very, very safe in the city. And that doesn't come from me as a guy, but comes from, women that I've been with and stuff like that. They felt very, very safe just walking alone. And that's a European city, by the way, after dark. So just goes to show. Joe just makes a good point. Yep, now they're getting an Uber by their pals to Calais. Yeah, probably. So whilst we're celebrating Poland defending their borders, the next stop will be, well, we can't get in there. Let's head down to Calais and move into the United Kingdom, because you get a 5-star hotel. Have you not heard the rounds? Yeah, you get a 5-star hotel if you go across the border. If you cross the channel, you get a 5-star hotel. You can work for Uber Eats. You can earn $1,000 a week. There's so much opportunity there, isn't there? I mean, who wouldn't? JD says, wish UK was like Poland. The thing about Poland is that they put Polish people first, and they also want to protect their traditions and values, which is super, super important. I've heard a lot of Polish politicians speak, and the way that they speak is fantastic. It really is fantastic, because it speaks for the ordinary person, whereas our ones are so focused on being politically correct, not wanting to say the right thing, not wanting to say the wrong thing, etc., tiptoeing around problems and not making actual decisions. And Polish, and whilst I'm not going to say I'm an expert in Polish politics by any means, I don't know much, but from an outside perspective looking in, it certainly looks a whole lot better, and the way that they operate, and the statistics, the crime statistics, all of the other things that about their country will probably speak those volumes. So yeah, a big shout out to them. Right, cool. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in for this live stream. Do let me know your thoughts on the ongoings in Poland at this moment in time. And how do you feel with regard to it? Let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.